Sometimes the loudest battles in life are the ones happening quietly inside our own minds. Today's story is about a man who discovered that true strength begins the moment the mind learns to become calm. Have you ever noticed how loud life has become, not just outside in the streets, but inside our own minds? Thoughts chasing thoughts, worries chasing worries, until the mind feels like a crowded marketplace where silence no longer exists. Most people believe problems destroy peace, but the truth is often the opposite. It is the restless mind that turns small problems into heavy storms, and this is the story of a man who slowly discovered that silence inside the mind can change the direction of an entire life. In a quiet town surrounded by low green hills and dusty roads, there lived a man named Daniel. He owned a small repair shop where he fixed wooden chairs, broken tables, and old cabinets that people believed were beyond saving. From sunrise until late evening the sound of hammering and sanding filled his shop, yet inside Daniel's mind there was never any rest. Numbers, worries, fears, and regrets circled endlessly like birds trapped in a cage. Every night when the town fell silent and light slowly disappeared from the windows, Daniel lay awake staring at the ceiling. His body was tired from work, but his mind kept replaying every mistake he thought he had made. He thought about money he had not yet earned, customers who might complain tomorrow, tools that might break, and problems that had not even happened yet. The strange thing was that none of these thoughts solved anything. One evening while closing his shop, Daniel whispered to himself with a tired smile, "My hands fix broken furniture every day, but my mind feels more broken than the things I repair." The next morning started like every other morning. The streets were quiet, a cool wind moved slowly between the buildings, and Daniel unlocked his shop door while already thinking about 10 different problems waiting for him. But that day something unexpected happened. A large customer cancelled an important order that Daniel had been counting on for weeks, and suddenly it felt as if the ground beneath his feet had disappeared. His hands trembled slightly as he placed his tools down on the wooden table. The shop felt smaller, the air felt heavier, and the noise inside his head grew louder than the hammer he had been using. Daniel stepped outside and sat on an old crate near the door. For a long moment he said nothing, then he looked toward the distant hills and whispered quietly, "Why does my mind never stop fighting with itself?" At that exact moment an older man named Samuel slowly walked down the road. He was known in the town as a quiet person who spoke very little but seemed to understand far more than he said. Samuel stopped near the shop, looked at Daniel's tired face, and after a brief silence said calmly, "Your shop repairs wood, but it seems your thoughts are the ones that truly need fixing." Daniel looked up slowly, surprised that someone had understood his thoughts without hearing them. The morning air felt cool, but the weight inside his chest still felt heavy, as if his mind had been running for years without ever stopping to breathe. Samuel sat beside him on the wooden crate without saying much. For a moment both men simply watched the empty road stretching quietly through the town, and the silence between them felt strangely peaceful. After a while Daniel spoke again, his voice tired and honest. He said his mind never stopped thinking about problems, even small ones, and the more he tried to solve them, the more confused everything became. Samuel nodded slowly, as if he had heard the same story many times before. Then he pointed toward the hills in the distance and said quietly, "Tomorrow morning, before the town wakes up, come walk with me." Daniel wanted to ask questions, but something about the calm way Samuel spoke made him simply agree. That night, however, the familiar storm of thoughts returned again, reminding him how difficult silence truly was. The next morning the sky was still pale and the town was barely awake when Daniel met Samuel near the road leading toward the hills. A soft wind moved through the grass, carrying the quiet smell of wet earth. They walked slowly along a narrow path that curved between tall trees and scattered stones. Neither of them spoke, yet Daniel noticed something unusual. The quiet around him felt deeper than anything he had felt in years. After some time they reached a small clearing hidden between the trees. In the center of it lay a calm pond where the water rested like a mirror, perfectly still beneath the gentle light of the rising sun. Daniel stopped walking and stared at the surface of the water. The reflection of the sky, the trees, and even the drifting clouds looked so clear that it almost felt unreal. Samuel picked up a thin branch from the ground and gently stirred the pond. Instantly the reflection broke apart, Ripples spread across the water and the clear image turned into shaking lines and blurred shapes. Samuel looked at Daniel and said softly, "This water was showing the truth a moment ago. The sky, the trees, everything exactly as it is. But one small disturbance destroyed the reflection." He placed the branch down and continued, "Your mind works the same way. When it is calm, you see life clearly, but when endless thoughts keep stirring it, everything becomes distorted." Daniel watched quietly as the ripples slowly disappeared and the pond returned to perfect stillness again, and in that silent moment, he felt as if the water was showing him something about himself he had never understood before. Remember, a peaceful mind can rebuild what chaos tries to destroy. Stay with Tales with English, where every story brings a little more silence, strength, and wisdom to life.